culture, and one of them is Klimt, which he put together like influenced by Japan and Egypt culture. And this picture is about a tree of life, and this is one of the good examples what is the symbolism and the symbol meanings. And if you think about the tree is our all cycle of life, where is it like growing from the seed to become a big, like we are children growing to be an adults, and then we are growing our fruits of work, of life, life, of and then again we're getting older, and we're getting the trees are getting losing their leaves, and or maybe even getting too old to just to go on the ground and be a part of the ecosystem for the bugs and other creatures. So it's our tree of life of cycle, and that's what he was looking at it. And all these little details were about symbolizing, the freedom of a bird would maybe symbolize the freedom as he can fly anywhere he can go. And this single woman is at first is single, then she maybe gets married and have a husband, and they are as a couple. And it's all into this picture of showing like a circle of life. And as you can see, there is some Egyptian symbols of like an eye, or some circles, triangles, some lines, and also he includes some gold that is also quite well known in Egypt art. But it's also like about primary colors, which are blue and red, and secondary colors as green and orange, and they are quite contrasty if you look. So this is where we need our color wheel. So the contrasty colors is the ones are that opposite from each other. So if you can see, some orangey or yellow is kind of like opposite to blue, and that's why he included blue into the main object of the of this picture. And then the red is opposite with the green, and it's like very contrasty over here to represent very vibrant clothing. Also, if we look at the composition, as remember we were looking at the rules of composition. So on this picture, this is like very dominant person on the side, which makes the L shape. And over here is kind of like the same, but it's a bit like curving, so but it's almost also the same L shape, but from a different side of the paper. And here is more like a center, but we could say like a pyramid effect, as we look at our composition rules. So let's get started our picture, and we'll see what we will create. So we will start with the pencil and making our composition. So as we know, we're going to do L shape. We can do a bit higher or lower, it's up to us. And the figure we're going to draw is, we're going to think about the face, where it's going to be. Think about the hair. Maybe we can do like a loose hair, or like tie in the bow. It's up to you actually how you would like to do it. So starting with the face, then we're gonna think about the shape of the body. So I'm thinking of using this like triangle, to remembering about the Egypt art, kind of like giving a bit of like influence by that. And this is gonna be my horizontal line. Or maybe, what about, so this is the time when we are creating and thinking of our composition. I would, here we're gonna use like she's like surrounded by the cosmos and sky and galaxy, and over here it's her story where she lives in the world. And again, I'm gonna use the L shape, and maybe I'm gonna do here a tree, which we're gonna draw maybe again using a bit like, you know, magical like squiggly lines for the tree. And maybe we can draw some fruits. Now we know how we were drawing apples, so what about we can add these apples to the tree, the fruits of our work, of our art. And over here we can draw like flowers, which again could be like a more like a symbol of flowers. Maybe some of them are like, so we're gonna just symbolize more as doing realistic flowers. Maybe some leaves. And over here, maybe we'll do some mountains, just to show all parts of the world. And maybe we can do over here on this higher branch a like sitting bird, a beautiful bird, maybe with the long tail of feathers, because it's our imagination, so we can do the any bird you would think you like. So the bird has a beak, yes, and maybe we can do what we like to, maybe we can do like a heart. The love would represent the symbol of love. And maybe the lady is holding a heart. So you see, this could be like a hand. So she's holding the heart, that love represents all what she likes. She loves all these things. And then we're gonna draw her face. So to draw the face, we'll draw the line here, the line here, and the line here, and this is our guidelines where we're gonna show the eyes. You can do like some eyelashes, and then the nose, and the smile. And then we're gonna show the hair. So I'm thinking I'm happy with this picture. I think because for watercolors we need to draw as less as possible. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna rub it out all what we don't want to have in the picture. I'm just gonna leave the lines that is important for me, which is like where my body is and where my symbols are. And I think we can start painting. So we're gonna try two different way of painting with watercolors on this picture, because we kind of divided that picture into two. So this one we're gonna try dry watercolor painting, and here wet watercolor painting. So to do the wet watercolor painting, we need to wet all the surface with water. It will make the paper damp, but not too much, you know, like just to make it the paper wet enough, but not too wet, if to explain it. And then we're gonna use some, this time I'm gonna use, because we were thinking about doing like a galaxy, and you see how the water helps the paint to spread, and we're gonna do like mix it, blue, purple, so this is kind of our sky. Also, we can try our fan brush for this, and you can see it makes like these like clouds. So I'm putting my fan brush with a bit of pink, and we want to be like, you know, because sky is not one color, it's lots of colors. And it helps us to achieve that beautiful night sky. So I'm gonna change now a bit to this. Maybe I'm gonna add a little bit more darker parts where is the clouds. Maybe I'll do a bit purple here. And you can test and see how you feel. It makes like a clouds with this brush. So we always start with a bit of lighter and getting darker and darker with the watercolors. We have here, I'm gonna use my small brush, which you have in your box. So as we look at our wheel, I used the purples and blues, so my contrasty colors are like yellow and orange and red. So this is what I'm gonna be doing more, focusing on the background. So for the hair, I was thinking to use some orange red color. So I'm just wet my brush and I'm just gonna go slowly with the brush. Now I'm gonna take a bit of orange, yellow, and I'm gonna add that into the hair. And as you can see, you are more controlling your painting when the surface is dry. I'm not using a lot of water for my painting. It's more like almost like a very dry brush, just the paint. So our hair will be like orangey yellow for this picture. Now for the face, I'm gonna use this next to the yellow, like between yellow and orange yellow, this kind of beige color. And I'm gonna put a little bit on this white, and it's gonna make this face a bit lighter. And we're just gonna go around. So it's okay if you even go on the eyes or because what we're gonna do, we're gonna use the black marker, the thin black marker, and we're gonna go over our small details over here. It's just to color a bit of green for the grass. So I'm just gonna take the green and use all greens you have in the watercolor. I would like that you would incorporate all the colors you have in the water paint palette. So you see how I'm just like adding a bit of light, then I'm gonna add a bit of darker green, which is as you can see, it's warm green. More natural green. which I'm using a bit like where the shade is maybe from the tree. So this part is a bit colder, you know, like how you like to sit under the shade under the tree when it's a very hot day. So I'm just gonna show that this tree makes the shade too. And then I'm gonna make a bit less water, more paint for the leaves to be more standing out from the picture. Now for the flowers, I'm gonna use this rosy red, which we were talking about in the introduction. It is more colder red than warm red. But not all, I'm just doing like a couple. And again, for the bigger one, I will include mixing maybe with a bit of pink to light up. And then I'm mixing with the white a bit. Even though watercolors don't have white, it's just diluting with the water, you will make it a bit lighter. But this time we have here a bit of white watercolor just to make us easier to get a bit lighter colors. So then I'm gonna take orangey red, and I'm gonna use that for our flowers. And then for this flower, I will just add a bit of so then we're gonna grab a bit of yellow, maybe add a bit in the inside of the flowers, and you can do a bit of like even dots around just to represent our flowers that are like, you know, maybe very little and we can't see it. Now for the tree branch and the actual tree, I will use a bit of beige and brown. So you see I'm trying to use all the colors I have in the watercolor palette, and so before painting these little details, I'm thinking about the background. And for this sky, I would like to have a light blue. So I'm gonna actually mix it with white, and I'm gonna add that to my dress. But because I wanted, it's gonna be, you see, like I'm doing very light. And again, I'm not using too much water, just a hint of the water. But then I want a bit of like, to show like the warmth, the sunny side of this. So next to the mountains, I'm gonna add a bit of this yellow, like it's the sunny, like the sun is behind the, maybe behind the mountains, and we're gonna kind of blend in a bit with the, so I took this color a warm color palette. Then over here it's more cold. So then I'm gonna use again red, orangey red, maybe a bit mixing with the rosy red for the apples. Ooh, look at these bright apples. Some of them might be like, you know, halfway. I'm gonna mix it with a bit of like maybe yellow. So I'm gonna take yellow here and add a bit. It's okay if it's like, you know, blends in itself. It's fine. Now for the mountains, I'm gonna add a bit of gray. And everybody has the different opinion and feeling to the colors and views. So it's your picture. So everybody is making your way, you know, like, and you don't need to copy me, because again, as you can see, compare from this to this is very different view of. I was just inspired of the things over here, but I'm doing my way. So I would like that you also think about your way. Maybe something else you would like to include in your picture as a your symbol of life. What will be your symbol of life? So I'm adding a bit of like dark, and remember, like a symbols of eye. So maybe we can actually add this to our picture, to the flowers. So again, it doesn't need to be very sharp, or but it could be like our representation. So now I'm gonna work for my branches. And you can see I'm using very light movement, and again my hand is far away from the tip of the brush, so I'm doing it these you know, light movements, and they are like, you know, smooth and not hard pushing to the. If I want to have a bit more detail, then I'll go closer to the brush. So for the heart, I was thinking to use maybe a bit like purpley color, and that would give a bit of connection between these two. So for the bird, I'm gonna use dark blue, and you can see I'm just using the lines, and then I'm include always have a tissue next to you. If you feel it's too much water, you just damp it with the tissue, and then maybe for the bird I will combine I'll add a bit of rosy red. So it's colorful bird. Okay. So for this picture now, I will leave it to dry, and then we're gonna go over. So when I see that all my painting is dry, I'm gonna use my thin liner and I'm gonna go around also. We can use some pencils, watercolor pencils we had. Maybe to use a bit where we wanted to do it like more brighter, or showing the texture. So I'm just gonna add in some places, not everywhere. Again, I'm just using just to outline the picture objects. Maybe a bit over here. Oh, maybe over that, and a bit of like wing. And now I'm gonna take a watercolor pencils and just for some details, I'm just include a bit, maybe brighten up the hair, just to give it a bit more color. Maybe I'm gonna add a bit for the sky. Like a shades. Remember we were talking the shadows and shades, so maybe I'm just gonna add this parts of the darker like for the mountains. And maybe I'll take a bit of green where we said it's gonna be shady side, and I'm gonna use a bit of darker parts here. And then maybe I'm gonna use a bit of brown for the tree to stand out and show this tree trunk, the bark that has these nice lines. And I'm gonna add a bit of maybe darker pink to this flower, and a bit again, you can add a bit of like So as you can see, the more you're layering your picture, the better it turns. You can even add a bit of yellow into your apples, into your hair. And maybe for the sky, you can add a bit of the white pencil, some stars on the dark parts. It's not much you can see, but maybe we can even add a bit of black. So I'm thinking that the picture is ready and I'm very happy.